Fast food was supposed to be the one thing that never changed. Golden arches, sizzling fryers, neon signs promising comfort on every corner, all of it built on the idea that America's appetite was endless. But step outside in 2025 and it's hard not to feel something breaking. The drive-through lines are shorter, the smiles behind the counter look tired. The same brands that once ruled lunch breaks are quietly fighting for survival. Inflation bit first, then came delivery apps, health-minded shifts, and rent hikes that tore through franchise after franchise. One by one, giants are shrinking, cutting stores, rewriting menus, or praying a rebrand will buy them time. This isn't about taste anymore, it's about endurance. And the truth is brutal, even the most familiar names can fade before anyone notices. Here are 10 fast food chains that defined America's hunger and are now struggling just to stay on the map. Number 1. McDonald's. U.S. same-store sales at McDonald's fell by roughly 3.5% in early 2025, the company's steepest drop since the pandemic years. For a brand that once printed reliability on every corner, that number feels heavier than it looks. It signals not just slower foot traffic, but a crack in an empire that always believed the world would keep craving the same taste. Prices climbed too far too fast. A burger meal that once felt like a small reward now pushes close to $15 in some cities. The fries remain golden, the signage unchanged, yet the value equation flipped. People no longer walk in for comfort, they calculate. Inflation pressed from one side and shrinking portions from the other, until the joy of the simple order turned into painful irritation. Inside, the rhythm has changed too. Self-serve kiosks hum where cashiers once greeted. Fewer crew members manage larger stations, wiping counters while screens call out numbers. The hum of speed has become the silence of efficiency, and it's not the same thing. Globally, McDonald's still thrives. But in the US, the foundation is showing strain. Rent costs climb, wages rise, and delivery platforms take their cut. Profit margins hold only because of careful trimming of labor, of packaging, of time. Each cut saves a cent but erodes a memory. This isn't a fall from grace. It's the slow fade of a system that forgot what made it warm. The fries are hot, yes, but the feeling is colder. The brand that once defined family dinners on the go now competes against nostalgia itself. In some towns, franchise owners sadly close at midnight instead of staying open all night, citing cost. In others, locals drift to cheaper mom-and-pop diners that still pour free refills and ask how your day was. The arches still shine above every highway, steady as always, but their glow feels different now, less like a beacon, more like a memory. Even the biggest brand can't supersize trust forever. Number 2. Subway. Steam still rises from the bread ovens, but fewer people wait to smell it. The posters by the window fade in the sun, the slogan, "Eat fresh," curling at the edges. Inside, one worker stacks cold cuts in silence, watching more footsteps pass by than enter. The lights stay on, but the pulse feels dim. Then the numbers followed that feeling. In 2024, Subway closed more than 600 stores across the United States, slipping below 20,000 for the first time in decades. By early 2025, more franchises vanished, not because of scandal, but fatigue. The brand that once meant momentum now moves mostly on memory. The problem runs deeper than sandwiches. For years, Subway's promise of choice became its own trap. The build-your-own ritual that once made people feel in control now feels like work. Lining up, naming ingredients, waiting for the same outcome led us to tomato regret. The experience grew stale long before the bread did. At its peak, expansion looked unstoppable. Every corner seemed to have one. But ubiquity erases excitement. When something's everywhere, it becomes background noise. Combine that with rising franchise fees, falling margins, and stricter corporate demands, and the cracks began to show. Some owners surrendered leases, unable to survive the squeeze between corporate control and consumer disinterest. The company tried to refresh its image, cleaner stores, digital kiosks, new menu boards, yet design can't mask disconnection. Subway's idea of fresh no longer matched what the public wanted. Packaged vegetables and soft bread couldn't compete with crisp salads or artisan wraps. It stopped feeling like the better option. It just felt like the older one. Now some storefronts sit empty beside gas pumps or discount gyms, their outlines still visible on sun-bleached walls. What was once a symbol of modern eating looks almost retro, an echo of a time when people thought health could be ordered by the footlong. The brand isn't dead, but its meaning is. And for a company built on freshness, nothing expires faster than routine. It wasn't hunger that ended Subway, it was repetition. Number 3. Burger King. I used to come here for the smell, a man mutters while waiting for his order, but now it just smells tired. The comment could be dismissed as small talk, except it sums up what's happening to Burger King in 2025. The chain's flame still burns on every sign and wrapper, but the heat feels different. It's no longer passion, it's maintenance. After a $400 million reclaim, the Flame campaign meant to modernize stores and menu sales barely moved. Franchise performance stayed weak, and customer satisfaction scores slid. The crown still shines on billboards, but the loyalty beneath it has faded. What once symbolized defiance, the burger made your way the rival to Golden Arches, now feels lost in the shuffle of fast food sameness. The problem isn't that the Flame went out, it's that everyone else learned to light one too. McDonald's improved its burgers, Wendy's sharpened its digital image, and smaller gourmet chains began grilling with real fire. Burger King, stuck between nostalgia and novelty, ended up repeating itself louder. Inside the restaurants, that tension is visible. Rebranded interiors feel clean but hollow, with empty booths and glowing kiosks that look borrowed from someone else's future. Menu boards flash limited-time offers faster than customers can decide. Even the slogan, "Have it your way," now feels ironic in a business where choice mostly means adding another sauce. Inflation worsened the story. Franchisees complained of higher beef prices, shrinking margins, and mandatory remodeling fees. Some sell their stores to private groups hoping to escape the squeeze between corporate expectations and economic reality. The result: fewer locally owned locations, more sterile operations. Brand analysts call this identity drift. Burger King once thrived on being second, the rebel, the underdog. But rebellion requires direction. Without it, the crown is just decoration. Consumers who once found comfort in that smoky taste now scroll past it in delivery apps, choosing something newer, something with a story. The flame-grilled scent still lingers in the air, familiar, heavy, a little nostalgic. But like smoke after a campfire, it reminds you more of what used to be than what's still alive. Because when rebellion turns routine, the crown starts to rust. You can't rule a kingdom that forgot what it stood for. Number 4. Wendy's. U.S. same-store sales at Wendy's dropped about 2.8% in early 2025, a sudden chill after nearly a decade of steady heat. For a brand that built itself on fresh, never frozen, the numbers landed like a draft through an open window. Executives quickly lowered forecasts and trimmed optimism, citing inflation, cautious consumers, and quieter drive-thrus across the country. At first glance, everything looks fine. The red-haired girl still smiles on the cup. The fries are still crisp. But step closer and you'll notice the pace has slowed. Headsets crackle with static. Workers wait for orders that come slower, smaller, less certain. The screens above the counter flash limited-time deals that used to spark rushes, now just scroll by like background noise. The math tells the story. Combo meals that once cost $7 or $8 now flirt with $11. That puts Wendy's in a no-man's land, too expensive for budget diners, not special enough for premium seekers. McDonald's wins on scale. Shake Shack wins on story, and Wendy's sits in between, squeezed by both. The result is a strange kind of paralysis, a brand trying to stay friendly while quietly counting every penny. Digital investments didn't help much either. Delivery fees erased the value edge, and app discounts only trained customers to wait for coupons. What was meant to feel modern ended up feeling mechanical. Even loyal fans who once swore by the square burger are drifting not out of anger but fatigue. Inside, the company cost control took priority. Stores shorten hours, automate prep lines, and run with skeleton crews. The menu, once proudly simple, now reads like a test of what people might still notice. Bacon this classic, that ghost pepper something, the sound of a brand trying to keep conversation alive. Yet amid all this, the tone remains oddly polite. No scandals, no collapses, just a slow retreat wrapped in calm branding. It's the kind of decline you don't see until you drive by a darkened window that used to glow red. Wendy's isn't gone. It's pausing, caught between who it was and what it's supposed to become next. And for a brand built on warmth, nothing chills faster than hesitation. The bucket that still shines down the road knows that feeling too. Number 5. KFC. When was the last time you sat inside a KFC and actually ate from a tray? Not in your car, not through an app, but under those bright red lights with the smell of pepper and oil thick in the air. For many Americans, that memory is already fading much faster than the brand expected. KFC's U.S. same-store sales dropped nearly 5% in early 2025, extending a decline that management still calls a turnaround phase. The bucket remains iconic, the recipe unchanged, yet the rooms around it keep emptying. The chain that once felt like a Sunday dinner now feels like a relic of one. The problem isn't the chicken, it's the clock. KFC was built on slowness, marination, pressure, cooking the sense of something made with patience. But the modern version traded that for speed. New store layouts, automated fryers, rotating deals, all designed to move more food, not more feeling. 11 herbs and spices still sound magical, but now they arrive through a touchscreen. Franchise sprawl made it worse. Different regions experiment with different menus, confusing customers who can no longer tell what KFC stands for, Southern Comfort or Global Fast Food. At the same time, smaller chicken chains like Raising Cane's and Popeyes tightened their focus: one sauce, one flavor, one story. Meanwhile, KFC spread itself thin, chasing trends instead of guarding its roots. Cost pressure deepened the fatigue. To hold margins, many outlets reduced staff and relied on pre-prepped mixes instead of full cooking cycles. The result is efficiency that feels hollow, crispy, yes, but somehow distant. You bite, you chew, you remember the old flavor that lingered longer than the grease. Now it's just another quick meal you forget before you leave the parking lot. Still, the brand tries to keep its smile. Ads lean harder into nostalgia, grainy filters, slow-motion close-ups, the Colonel's gentle drawl, as if memory could fill seats. But memory doesn't refill drinks or reopen kitchens. It only reminds you of how things used to feel before convenience won. KFC isn't dying, it's drifting. It stands somewhere between reverence and relevance, between a recipe and a routine. And when tradition gets automated, flavor starts tasting like memory. Fame feeds memory, but freshness feeds tomorrow. Number 6. Pizza Hut. A family of 4 sits in a corner booth, the only ones left in the dining room. The parents scroll their phones between bites. The kids sip soda from paper cups that once came with endless refills. The jukebox near the salad bar hasn't worked in years. The red roof still glows outside, but it feels more like a warning light than a welcome sign. Pizza Hut's US same-store sales have fallen roughly 5% in 2025. Its parent company, Yum Brands, is reportedly weighing a sale as dine-in locations vanish across the country. The chain that once turned every Friday night into a ritual is now an afterthought in the delivery queue, trapped between faster competitors and the nostalgia it can't outgrow. The decline didn't come suddenly. It crept in with each replaced light fixture, each store converted into takeout only. When Domino's bet early on delivery and technology, Pizza Hut clung to booths, carpets, and red cups. That hesitation turned loyalty into latency. The company eventually embraced delivery, but by then the charm had curdled. Rising costs worsened the erosion. Cheese inflation, labor shortages, and the price of keeping dining rooms open made nostalgia too expensive to maintain. Families that once shared pan pizzas under Tiffany lamps now share links to discount apps. The laughter, the wait for a hot pan at the table, the little book club reward stickers, all replaced by cardboard boxes and delivery tracking bars. For many towns, the local Pizza Hut was never just a restaurant. It was a pause, a space between work and weekend. When those stores closed or downsized, something disappeared from the rhythm of small American evenings. The new carry-out outlets may be efficient, but they have no heartbeat. Just screens, timers, and warmers that hum like machines remembering laughter. Pizza Hut's legacy lives on in memory more than flavor. You can still taste it, but mostly in recollection. The buttery crust, the clink of glass plates, the heat of cheese stretching too far to share. What's left is imitation, a corporate ghost keeping pace with its own shadow. Under the humming vent, one worker wipes the counter and sighs. Sometimes it feels like we're just heeding the past. Number 7. Taco Bell. Pizza Hut lost its crowd when people stopped sitting down. Taco Bell, on the other hand, might be losing its crowd because people never really stay. It was built for movement, late-night runs, quick laughter food you could eat with one hand and regret with the other. That energy once made it unstoppable. Now it's what's wearing it out. For years, Taco Bell's genius was chaos. Every few months came another invention: Dorito shells, breakfast burritos, hybrid tacos that defied grammar and gravity. But the same strategy that made it exciting also made it exhausting. When everything is new, nothing feels special. The thrill of discovery turned into the fatigue of déjà vu. Customers scroll through digital menus that look more like a game board than dinner, then pick something familiar because choice has become work. Prices didn't help either. The value menu that once defined the brand now brushes against $10 combos. Supply costs, wage increases, and relentless marketing pushes eroded the idea that Taco Bell was cheap fun. Suddenly, the fun came with a service fee. Inside the stores, the signs of strain show quietly. Smaller crews handle bigger shifts. New menu screens flicker with items that last only weeks before vanishing. The food still arrives fast, still bright and salty, but the feeling of community, of being in on the joke, has faded. The restaurants now hum like machines built for efficiency, not for culture. By mid-2025, the numbers caught up. US sales growth, steady for nearly 10 years, finally flattened. Analysts blamed menu fatigue and late-night declines. Fewer college kids, fewer road trip stops, fewer people looking for a midnight meal that doesn't judge. The energy that once made Taco Bell irresistible had become predictable. Reinvention used to be its heartbeat. Now it's the background noise. You can still find flashes of that wild creativity. A new wrap, a limited flavor, a clever ad, but they arrive without surprise. The audience has already learned the trick. Something big, something crunchy, something gone next month. Taco Bell didn't fail because it stopped changing. It stumbled because it changed too much too fast for too long. The purple lights still shine across the highway steady and loud, but the pulse behind them has slowed. Even chaos, it turns out, can get tired. Number 8. Chipotle. Even the cleanest kitchen can't escape the storm. For years, Chipotle stood as proof that fast food didn't have to feel fast. The rice was steaming, the avocados were real, and the burritos looked handcrafted enough to post online. It was a modern miracle speed, without guilt convenience that still felt human. But in 2025, that shine began to blur. Visits dropped, same-store sales slipped, and the company cut its annual forecast. Investors reacted instantly. The stock lost 15% of its value overnight. The burrito empire that once defined fresh and honest now faces a challenge, one that can't be solved by adding more guacamole. The strength that built Chipotle also became its weakness. The model was too perfect, too streamlined. Every restaurant looks the same, sounds the same, even smells the same stainless steel cilantro and nothing else. What once promised transparency now feels sterile. The open kitchen became a stage, the workers more like operators than cooks. You watch your food being made, but not by anyone you feel connected to. The menu barely changes, and when it does, it feels forced. A new protein, a limited bowl, a plant-based option that costs more but inspires less. Chipotle's formula still works, but it no longer moves people. The same bowls that once symbolized clean eating now feel like corporate minimalism served in recyclable foil. Behind the counters, the pressure builds. Automation speeds up prep lines. App orders pour in faster than workers can fold wraps. A brand built on mindfulness now runs on momentum. The more efficient it becomes, the colder it feels. Competitors noticed. Smaller taquerias and new fresh casual concepts started offering what Chipotle forgot: warmth. Not in calories, but in presence. A name remembered. A plate handed, not slid. The food might be slower, the space less sleek, but it feels like someone actually cooked it. Chipotle's problem isn't quality, it's connection. It perfected the system but misplaced the smile. The future of fast casual may still be bright, but only for those who remember why food mattered in the first place. Good food feeds the body. Real food feeds the moment. And if Chipotle wants to keep both, it has to bring the people back into the process. Number 9. Popeyes. The orange glow spills through the window at dinner hour, just like it always has. The smell of cayenne oil and something sweet in the air makes heads turn before people even see the sign. It's warm, loud, alive, unmistakably Popeyes. But behind that smell, something heavier lingers. The sound of pressure, the rhythm of survival. For years, this brand stood on flavor alone. While others chased digital upgrades and diet menus, Popeyes sold comfort, the crunch, the spice, the grease that felt like home. That southern swagger once turned a simple chicken sandwich into a nationwide sensation. It made people line up in the heat, arguing over who had the best bite in America. But every storm leaves a mark. What started as triumph soon became routine, and routine is expensive to maintain. By the middle of this year, same-store sales in the US had fallen for the second straight quarter. Franchise owners blamed high labor costs, shortages of chicken and oil, and delivery app fees, eating into already thin margins. Inflation hit fast, and flavor couldn't outrun math. Some restaurants shortened hours. Others raised prices until the combo meal felt more like a luxury than a comfort. Inside, the energy remains, but it feels different. Workers move quickly behind fogged glass juggling orders while timers beep and fryers hiss. The smell is the same, yet the joy has thinned. The kitchen rhythm that once felt like music now sounds like endurance. Even the orange uniforms look tired under fluorescent light. Still, people come because the flavor hasn't quit. The first bite still hits like memory, crispy, salty, full of heat and nostalgia. But loyalty is fragile when prices rise and portions shrink. For every fan praising the crunch, another complains about inconsistency, about service stretched too thin to care. The franchise model that spread Popeyes' charm nationwide now strains to keep it consistent. And yet underneath the exhaustion, something stubborn stays alive. The pride, the spice, the rhythm of workers who still hum as they drop another basket. It's what made the brand matter, and what might save it if anyone remembers that flavor isn't just seasoning, it's identity. Because even the boldest flavor can't hide the taste of exhaustion. The flavor never quit, the system did. Number 10. Red Robin. The neon bird still glows at the far end of a half-empty mall, its reflection trembling across a row of locked storefronts. Inside, the clinking of cutlery echoes through a space that once buzzed with birthdays, laughter, and bottomless fries. Red Robin was never just another burger joint, it was a benchmark for American casual dining, a place where familiarity was part of the business model. But in 2025, that model no longer works. The company announced plans to close as many as 70 locations nationwide, citing what it called portfolio optimization and lease alignment. Analysts call it what it is: survival. Mall foot traffic has fallen by nearly 30% since the pandemic era, and casual dining, once a middle-class comfort, has become a shrinking segment in an economy of extremes. People either want the convenience of a $5 takeout meal or the experience of a $25 plate. Red Robin sits in between the most dangerous place to be. Operational data tells the same story. Higher rent, rising wage floors, and tightening food costs have left the brand's EBITDA margins compressed to historic lows. The kitchen still produces quality burgers, but the margins on each plate are wafer thin. Delivery apps, which were meant to save volume, only take a deeper cut from every sale. For a company built on dine-in warmth, off-premise revenue feels like cold comfort. The brand's greatest strength, its promise of gourmet comfort, has become its biggest vulnerability. In a time of rapid service innovation, the 10-minute wait for a handcrafted burger feels indulgent, almost inefficient. Younger consumers scroll instead of sit. They want personalization through apps, not servers. The experience that once defined community now reads as nostalgia, costly, slow, and slightly out of sync with the digital economy. Yet walking into one of the remaining restaurants still triggers something visceral. The warm wood, the familiar lighting, the soundtrack of clinking plates, all faint reminders of a dining culture that's slipping away. The last guests eat slowly, almost reverently, as if aware they're participating in something that may not last. Industry experts describe Red Robin's decline not as a failure of taste, but of timing a brand, caught between eras between human service and algorithmic dining. The food still satisfies. It's the context that's changed. And when a restaurant built on laughter goes into sorrow, the silence feels personal. Some endings don't need drama, just lights turned off with care. For decades, these 10 names filled our towns, our road trips, and our memories. They shaped what we call comfort, not just through food, but through familiarity. Yet the truth we've uncovered isn't about failure. It's about change. America's appetite is evolving faster than any menu can keep up. Inflation, technology, and lifestyle shifts are rewriting what it means to grab a bite. Still, none of this is the end. Every era of dining creates another. When the neon signs fade, new kitchens light up smaller, local, more intentional. The brands we grew up with may be shrinking, but the spirit that built them, convenience, connection, creativity hasn't gone anywhere. It's just moving to new hands. So if you've watched this far, thank you for caring enough to look beyond the drive-thru window, and for remembering that food tells stories long after the receipts fade. Maybe the future won't taste like the past, but it can still feel like home if we choose to support what's real, honest, and human again. Because restaurants don't just feed us, they remind us who we are and who we still hope to be.
This video does not promote division within the United States or encourage segregation. All content is presented for the purpose of exploration, analysis, and fostering discussion based on current events, public sentiment, and social trends. We fully respect the United States Constitution and all federal regulations. If today's analysis made you think, drop a comment so we can keep the conversations going. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you will never miss our next independent deep dive.